Park Slope, our Sammy's Law kickoff press event. I'm Chris Brown from the Press and Com shop at DOT. Just going to give you a quick overview as to what we're going to do today. We're going to do the speaking program here. We're going to just move over about 20 feet when the speaking program is over, and we're going to watch the speed limit sign on the other side of Prospect Park West transformed from 25 mile an hour to 20 miles per hour, and then we'll that's definitely worth some applause. Thank you. And then we're going to return to the podium for Q&A. And with that, let me introduce the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation, Idanis Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chris. As everyone knows, it was 12 years that I spent as a council member, and the 12 years we fought together, for justice and to turn all the pain that is difficult as a father of two daughters that I have, to imagine how someone who lost a loved one, it doesn't matter if it was your child, your friend, your sister, not being with us today, it's something that those of us that have never gone through that situation would never imagine. But, those of you had fighting for other family not to go through the same pain and tough moment that it will mark your life forever. So thank you, on behalf of the 8.6 million New Yorkers and the mayor of New York City, Adams, and everyone for being the voice of so many individuals that unfortunately they don't know, and their family members will be the next one who we will lose. My name is Idanis Rodriguez, and I'm the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation. On behalf of Mayor Eric Adams, we want to welcome all of you here. It's a beautiful day by a beautiful park, but today is also a day of deep reflection and remembrance as we gather to honor the memory of a 12-year-old Sammy Cohen Emston. His life was tragically cut short right here on Prospect Park West, a devastating reminder of the urgent need for safer streets. Sammy's story is one of profound loss, but also of hope. As we know, the changes we are making today will save lives. We are here because of his life, and in his name we move forward in making our streets safer for everyone. I'd like to acknowledge Gary Emston, Sammy's father, who is here with us today. As a father of two daughters, 17 and 11, I cannot imagine the pain that you feel being back at this intersection. So thank you for being here, and for you and your family channeling your pain into purpose to make this day possible. We wouldn't be here without your tireless advocacy. Please join me in a moment of silence for Sammy. Thank you. Joanne Dim, Sammy's grandma, is also here, and we also know how difficult that day was and it still will continue being for the rest of your life. With the state's latest enactment of Sammy's Law, the New York City Department of Transportation can now take critical steps to prevent future tragedies from happening. Today, which happened to be the International International Walk and Roll to a School Day, we start work on Sammy's Law by reducing the speed limit in this very stretch of Prospect Park West to 20 miles per hour. And yes, as a former council member that represents Northern Manhattan, I also got to say that Audubon Avenue from 165 to 193rd, where we have more than 13 schools, is also part of that corridor that also the speed limit will be reduced to 20 miles per hour. We will also, by the end of 2025, New York City DOT will lower the speed limit in 250 locations across the city, with a focus on neighborhoods that need these changes the most, communities that have been historically underserved and where too many lives are at risk, and also area where the data is showing that most crashes are happening. Throughout this work, we honor Sammy. We will also create what we are calling regional slope zones, areas in each borough where speed limits will be reduced to 20 miles per hour. The first zones we have identified for implementation is Manhattan, South or Canal Street. This initiative, thank you. And we have the council member here who also will say a few words. This initiative is not just about numbers or policy. It is about protecting lives. Slower speed saves lives. When a crashes occur, a driver's speed is often the difference between life or death. And that's why we have the message in the social media where we are spending millions of dollars in the campaign, educating drivers to know that speeding ruins life, and please slow down. Sammy's law allows us to take this action, and it thanks to the relentless advocates of Amy Cohen and Gary Epstein, who turned their unimaginable laws into a call for change. I also want to thank the tireless advocates of transportation, alternative, and family for safe streets, because they have fought so hard over the years on behalf of their and other families. We are deeply grateful to them for their courage and dedication in fighting to protect other children, families, and communities to prevent further tragedies. Now we will have the first person who will come and say a few words is going to be Gary Epstein, Sammy Cohen's father, who again, together with Amy, they've been fighting on behalf not only Sammy's, but also all New Yorkers and visitors.
Good morning. Yesterday marks 11 years since my 12-year-old son, Sammy Cohen Exton, was run over and killed right here on Prospect Park West. Sammy was a great kid. He was smart and sensitive, articulate and probing, interested in the world and making it a better place. He was also kind and generous and a natural leader. Although we still call him Sammy, he was just starting to introduce himself to his classmates and teammates as Sam. He was just starting to see himself as too grown up to be called Sammy. He was an amazing person with such promise, but most of all, he was my son, who I loved so very much. On that horrible day 11 years ago, Sammy's life was cut short, and his bright future was extinguished, sending shockwaves through my family that we're still dealing with today and will for the rest of our lives. Life isn't fair, and horrible things happen for no apparent reason, and there's often nothing you can do about it. But here there is something that can be done about traffic violence. There are so many little things that could have gone differently that afternoon 11 years ago, and it would not have ended this way. If traffic had been moving more slowly that afternoon, Sammy and the driver of the van would have had more time to see each other, to take evasive action, to avoid a collision. And if an impact could still not have been avoided, it likely would have been less severe. People make mistakes, and we need to design our streets and set up the rules of the road so that there is some margin for error. A mistake by a driver or someone walking or biking should not be a death sentence. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to slow down traffic. At 20 miles per hour, a driver's field of vision widens, and there is far more time to see and react to the unexpected. There's more time for someone walking or biking to see and avoid an errant driver. And the force of impact at 20 miles an hour is so very much less likely to cause death or serious injury than 25 or 30 miles per hour. So while it's too late for Sammy to benefit from these changes, it's our hope that with Sammy's law, many more sons and daughters and parents and siblings will be able to walk away from a near miss or a minor injury with little thought to how much worse things could have turned out if the vehicle had been moving faster. And the benefits don't end there. When traveling on a street with traffic moving at 20 miles an hour, the tension level drops dramatically. It's calmer and quieter for everyone. You can hear birds chirping and children laughing. People are more likely to feel comfortable biking and walking. They're more likely to pause and chat with a neighbor, to linger at a shop or restaurant. It's good for the neighborhood and a sense of connection to the community. We're all grateful to the legislative sponsors of Sammy's Law, Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel and Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal, and to all the community groups and organizations that supported the passage of Sammy's Law. We're all also thankful for Commissioner Rodriguez and the staff at DOT who work to make our streets safer. But we cannot stop with just making changes in our street because we've been so outspoken. We fought hard to win this law alongside friends and allies from all over the city, from Sunset Park to Flushing, Left Rock City to the Bronx. We're excited about the list of other streets throughout the city that will get reduced speeds and the regional slow zones that will slow down traffic in particular neighborhoods starting with Lower Manhattan. We urge the Commissioner to implement 20-mile-per-hour speed limits on even more streets and neighborhoods throughout the city so that many more lives can be saved and communities enriched.
Thank you. And we will hear now from our partners, the NYPD, and then from the great partners in the council and the senator too. And again, the next person, Chief Rivera, is, I can say, one of the most important partners that we have. Everyone knows that the 3E of Vision Zero is about the engineer, and no other agency, the Department of Transportation in the nation, has a great planner, division, engineer that take the job so seriously every day to do the E of engineer, redesigning danger intersection, and know the city embed the resources that we do, educating our New Yorkers about drivers, understanding the responsibility they have when they get behind the wheel. And the media here in New York City, I can say thank you too, because you hope to spread the message also, making everyone accountable when it comes on how we drive in our street. But the third E is the E of enforcement. And I have not seen another person, another partners that we may be asking for, as Chief Rivera, who is working every day to be sure that with the resources that he has, he get the men and women in the NYPD and working with automatic enforcement to be sure that also we do the third E of enforcement. So with that, Chief Rivera from NYPD.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, and thank you for being here today. When we name a law after someone, we do this in an effort to try to change behaviors or policies. We do this to create a lasting impact. Sammy's Law is no different in this regard. Yet when we think of why we are here, this is one incident we ought to have avoided. Speed kills. It's as simple as that. Our data shows 25% of New York City's fatalities this year were caused by excessive speed. You would think that these fatalities would overwhelmingly occur on our highways. In fact, 77% of these speed-related fatalities are occurring on our city streets. These are the same streets that our children have to cross to get to school. The data shows that we need to slow down. Drivers, take a little more time on the roadways, especially where our children tend to frequent. We must ask ourselves, what is a few more seconds worth in comparison to a lifetime? The NYPD is fully committed to enforcing Sammy's Law and ensuring that our streets are safer for everyone. Reducing speeding is vital to our Vision Zero initiative. This law gives us more tools to make that happen. We will deploy additional resources to monitor and enforce speed limits in newly designated areas, working closely with our community stakeholders and our city agencies. We also encourage everyone to participate in this effort. Pedestrian safety is a shared responsibility. Whether you're a driver, a pedestrian, or a cyclist, we must be mindful of our streets and work together to protect one another. Slow down and take those extra few seconds to ensure intersections are clear. Make eye contact, ensure you are seen, and don't take anything for granted. Our lives depend on it. The NYPD will ensure Sammy's Law is effectively and fairly enforced throughout New York City. With your cooperation, we can create safer streets for all New Yorkers, especially for our children, and in honor of Sammy's legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Now, let's hear from Senator Brad Holderman Siegel, who comes and say a few words.
Good morning. I'm Assemblymember Bobby Carroll, and I represent the 44th Assembly District, which includes Park Slope, Windsor Terrace, Kensington, and Ditmas Park. And first, I want to thank Gary and Amy and Joan and all those from Families for Safe Streets who for years have tirelessly advocated the State Assembly and State Senate to pass Sammy's law. It was a long time coming. We should have done it so much sooner, but I'm so glad we're here today. And I want to commend Commissioner Rodriguez, because too often in Albany, we pass laws and then the institutions and agencies that are supposed to implement those laws sit on their hands. Commissioner Rodriguez has not done this. He has made sure, and my colleagues in the City Council, like Councilmember Marte and like Commanding Officer Rivera at the 78th Precinct, have made sure that we are implementing this law and making sure that we do not have tragedies like Sammy's tragedy 12 years ago. I walk my own children right down Prospect Park West often. This should be a place of joy. This should be a place where families and everyone feel comfortable. And one of the ways that we can do that is make sure that we slow down traffic. So I am so happy that we are seeing one of the first roads brought to 20 miles an hour is right here on Prospect Park West. And I look forward to the city making more roads and more slow zones throughout so that we do not have any more tragedies. And so I thank you all today for all of your advocacy and all of your work to make this possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember. Now let's hear from Councilmember Marcus.
Good morning. I'm Councilmember Christopher Marte, and I represent District 1, Lower Manhattan, where more than half of my district is now going to become a regional slow zone, which at maximum speed is going to be 20 miles per hour. I want to say thank you to the families, thank you to the advocates, Transportation Alternative, because it took over a decade to get here today. And so if you're one of the organizers, if you signed a petition, if you went on a ride-along, today is your victory. Today, you have changed the lives and you have made safer streets all throughout New York City. Why is this important for Lower Manhattan? Canal Street is a constant near miss for every cyclist and almost every pedestrian. And I represent one of the fastest and largest aging population in the heart of Chinatown. And so this is crucial to not only making sure that our streets are safer and for people to remain in place, but for people to have the ability to age in place as well. And hopefully this is going to be a Kickstarter, the next step to continue to pedestrianize many areas in my district, like the financial district. But I really want to thank DOT because I think Assemblymember Rob Carroll got it right. It could have been easy for our Commissioner Yadanis to ignore the call of activists. It would have been easy for this administration to say, oh, let's create another study to do this 5 years from now. They took the initiative. They heard the complaints from a lot of the car owners, but they kept it moving, and today they delivered for our families, for Sammy's family. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to be closing and having the opportunity to hear from Jason and Elizabeth. Albany is not the same as a council. So at the council, we can think about an idea, we work with a team, and we move a bill. We can get it done in 3 months. Albany is a place that, as a former council member, when I went to Albany, you really need, to have great assembly member above and senator and council member passing the resolution. But the role of the advocate is critical. They are the one who sometimes take the fight, take the heat. They go senator after senator, assembly member after assembly member, getting them to sign the bill, putting pressure on them. So yes, as a commissioner, it's nice to be here on behalf of the agency of so many, almost 6,000 men and women that they do a great job. But from Jason and Elizabeth, from the open plan representative, open plan, and Elizabeth from TA, thank you for the great job that you do. So let's hear from Elizabeth first, TA, and then Jason from open.
Good morning, everyone. Today is a major day for our city and the result of years of work by so many people. First, as has been said, we would not be here without Gary and Amy and Joan and the entire Families for Safe Streets community, their love for Sammy, and for so many others that we have lost. You all have taught us so much about what it is to fight for your families, and to never forget that this work is first and always about people and about our loved ones. Second, thank you so much to the Commissioner and the entire DOT staff who have been committed to Sammy's Law since the beginning and have fought with us to get the bill passed in Albany. There were many long nights at the end of session and sitting on the floor outside of chambers with Joan, going up to assembly member and senator after senator and assembly member after assembly member saying we have to get this done. We cannot wait any longer. We cannot wait another year. And it was a long road to get here. It took years of organizing and fighting, and it took families and teachers, unions and healthcare providers and elected officials and more to get to this point. But thanks to the fearless leadership of an entire coalition of fighters, we got it done. Sammy's Law will save lives, full stop. Everywhere that has lowered speed limits has seen an increase in safety and a decrease in people being hit or killed on our streets. The facts are clear. Lower speed limits work, and they make our neighborhoods safer. This should be a non-negotiable for our city. In fact, when we lower the speed limit just 5 miles per hour, drivers move at safer speeds, they turn corners at slower rates, and even speeders speed at lower levels above the speed limit. All of this reduces harm. It changes driver behavior, and it makes the difference for so many people being able to get home to their loved ones. And that is why we have fought so hard for this change, because every child in every zip code deserves to play outside and to walk to school safely. And every senior deserves to be able to cross the street without risk of being hit. Whether you are 8 or 80, you deserve to feel that these streets are here for you. Because of this, we know that speed limits are also part of a larger toolkit to prevent crashes and save lives. The city also recently announced that they are on track to hit the goal of daylighting 1,000 intersections this year, which is a great step forward in street redesign. When we combine physical infrastructure with safer speed limits, that is how we achieve Vision Zero. Today's start of Sammy's Law implementation is an important step forward in this critical goal. We look forward to the launch of the regional slow zones. Councilmember, great to have you here as well, which will protect countless more New Yorkers, as well as the reduction to 10 miles per hour on shared streets and open streets. These practices work. They are proven. So let's roll them out everywhere and without delay. We need 20-mile-per-hour speed limits on more streets and more neighborhoods throughout the city so that all New Yorkers, every single one of us, is cared for and is safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Some people talk the talk about it, or they walk the walk. And Jason from Open Plan is one of those that, as we're doing the International Walk Day, and we want the walk to school to be safe, Open Plan, they already have being able to get 25 open streets together with the New York City Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jackson Chabot. I'm the Director of Advocacy and Organizing at Open Plans. We're a nonprofit that focuses on how people experience New York City streets. So I ask you to consider, have you ever felt a driver driving past you at 35, 40 miles an hour? There's a whoosh that goes by. There's a tremble in your heart. There's a visceral, emotional reaction to what it feels like, looks like, and sounds like. Now imagine you're the size of a child. That magnifying force. I'm not only the Director of Advocacy and Organizing at Open Plans, but I'm also a Park Slope resident. I walk by this intersection so frequently as I enter the park here. And upon walking over here today, I considered the physics equation of force. And it's all about how our cars are getting bigger, they're accelerating faster, and they're physically moving faster. And so here, considering this is still this 2-lane road that's too wide, we need to continue to narrow our roads. We need to continue to lower our speeds as we're doing here today. And it is really this holistic solution of doing so. So this is about safety. This is about joy. This is about creating space for children to walk. And as we've stood here today, groups of young children have walked behind the cameras here. Seniors have crossed the street behind us. These are our neighbors. These are our New Yorkers, our friends, our family, our children. We cannot afford to lose them to senseless violence. I implore all the council members, all the elected officials who oppose this or stood by in spite of this, look deep within your hearts. This is an emotional conversation, but this is also a policy conversation. This is a political conversation that I urge you to have with your neighbors, whether you live in South Brooklyn, in Park Slope, in the Bronx, in Northeast Queens. Everybody needs this. Everybody deserves this. And as the commissioner highlighted, we've helped schools across the city, everywhere from College Point to Washington Heights to Flatbush, have more space for children. This is about our neighbors, and I can't say that enough. We need to do this. We need to do this everywhere. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we see the sign being installed, I want to say a few words in Spanish and then to acknowledge great people that I've been so lucky to be surrounded at DOT. But let me recognize those individuals first. Ryan Lynch, my chief of staff, Paul Ochoa, deputy commissioner, and Margaret Fujioni, my first deputy commissioner, for we oversee all the operation that we do at DOT, but also from the legislative team, Rick Rodriguez, Miranda, Danielle, and the other men and women that they work so hard came from the educational department. They spend every single day working with hundreds of schools, so they also doing a great job. Erin, also someone that we were able to recruit coming from the TA and leading some the work of the Vision Zero. So thank you for all the great job. And also the other members of DOT, Eric Bigton, Josh Benson, Anne-Marie, Rob Viola, David Arsemon, Bigni Susi, and everyone in traffic operation and traffic planning and managing for helping us to be here today. Hoy estamos aquí en un día muy importante. Hoy estamos mandando un mensaje bien claro que anunciamos que bajo el liderazgo del alcalde Eric Adams, la ciudad de Nueva York y nosotros, el Departamento de Transportación, este es un lugar de 250 lugares que en la ciudad de Nueva York, de aquí al año que viene, verán la velocidad ser reducida a 20 millas por hora. Esto lo hacemos alrededor donde hay más personas, donde hay estudiantes, donde hay personas mayores, y lo hacemos con nuestro objetivo de asegurarnos de que el Departamento de Transportación, junto con el Departamento de la Policía, aquí tenemos el Chief Rivera, todas las agencias están comprometidas a seguir todos haciendo lo necesario para hacer de Nueva York un lugar que siga siendo un ejemplo a nivel nacional. Un lugar donde los peatones, los ciclistas y los choferes también, cuando reducen la velocidad, estén todos seguros. So now with that, let's move to see, this area, to see the new speed limit being reduced in this area.
I think the crowd should try to move to the left side of this pole so that we get good perspective on the.
And we're coming back for any question, okay?